February 28th, 2025. A day that historians will look back and say, that was it. That was the day the world really took a turn. Everybody's talking about the confrontation slash discussion slash argument that happened in the Oval Office between the president of Ukraine and the president of the United States, along with the vice president of the United States and the secretary of state of the United States, and a select group of pool reporters. What we saw there has resonated throughout the world. But I think the average American needs to understand what happened and why. 1914, when World War I broke out, and then 1939, when World War II broke out, and the years in between, the interwar years, we saw 22 million people die in World War I, 10 million people die in the years between the two world wars, and then about 85 million people estimated killed. That's almost over 117 million people that are estimated to die in 31 years. So in order to come up with things to create peace, the world got together. They created a new League of Nations because the first League of Nations failed. Why? Because the United States did not participate in it. So they created the United Nations, this time with United States participation. And then the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, was founded as the largest military alliance in human history. The goal was to stop mass killing, wars of epic proportion, and at the time, the threat of nuclear war. And despite the regional conflicts and all the constant changes that have happened around the world, from decolonization in Africa, the subcontinent, and South America, to the rise of new countries, the checking of communism pretty much happened, and there has not been a World War III. The alliance has been sound. The current administration in the White House obviously doesn't understand history or the value of it. By doing what they did, they told the world, and I mean the Trump administration told the world, we don't care about stability, America first, America first, America first. Well, guess what? We've seen that before. Same title, same names, right before the greatest conflict in human history, World War II. The isolation mentality doesn't work, especially when you at the same time are saying, we're the bullies, or to quote Jesse Waters on Fox News, we say how the world goes. Well, you're about to find out. You cannot lead the world if you're not trying to participate and take part of it. And you sure as heck can't do it by telling your closest allies to take a long walk. The world immediately has rallied behind President Zelensky and Ukraine. Europe and many of our NATO allies are now looking at a world trying to figure out, how do we move forward without the United States? And to the average American right now, you don't think that's a big deal. But when you start to realize how interconnected our world is, how your daily life could eventually be affected by these things, you'll start to understand. You know, it's hard to reclaim leadership when you voluntarily give it up. And when you do voluntarily give it up, there's a vacuum. America has been the leader for 80 years, 80 long years. And if we're not careful, we're about to find out what it's like to be left behind by the rest of the world.